Okay, let's get into this. I came across this really interesting story, an author in Istanbul,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And he finds himself just surrounded by people who'd all managed to quit smoking.
Hmm?
And what grabbed me was one person gave all the credit to this like really unassuming little book, made me think about, those habits we all kind of wish we could shake.
It really does. And that anecdote, it's a perfect starting point for what we're digging into today.
Right.
We're looking at how to tackle those habits, the ones that just don't serve us anymore, by uh, understanding what's really driving them underneath.
Okay.
The mission really is to give you some practical insights, things that can shift how you actually see those habits, make them feel less appealing.
Yeah, less magnetic. And that book, the one from the story, Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking,
Mhm.
it uses this really clever idea, doesn't it? Reframing the cues.
It does. It's fascinating how he just flips the script on why people think they smoke.
How so?
Well, he sort of dismantles the illusions,
Hmm.
the idea that smoking actually gives you anything positive.
Right, like it helps you relax or socialize better.
Exactly. Or that it relieves stress. He targets those built-up associations, those predictions your brain makes.
Yeah. He's basically saying, look, you're not losing a thing by quitting because honestly, cigarettes offer zero real benefits.
Hmm.
And this whole reframing idea, it ties into the bigger picture of behavior change, doesn't it? But
Yeah,
like, where do these urges even come from in the first place?
that's the million-dollar question,
Yeah.
and it's central to our deep dive today.
Hmm?
See, every behavior, even something that feels simple like wanting a snack, it has
Yeah.
that surface craving, sure, but it's nearly always rooted in something deeper, a more fundamental motive.
Okay, so it's not just about the cookie.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You might think, oh, I really need that coffee. But the deeper thing could be about conserving energy, fighting off tiredness.
That makes a lot of sense. The research we looked at points to some really core human drives, right?
Absolutely. Things like conserving energy, getting food and water, the basics.
But also finding love, reproducing, connecting with others.
Yes. Bonding, winning social acceptance, reducing uncertainty about the world.
Even achieving status, they feel really, really primal.
They are primal. Our brains didn't evolve to crave, scrolling through Facebook feeds or checking emails constantly.
No.
But these modern habits, they're often just uh, very clever ways of tapping into those ancient desires.
Mm. Ah, okay. Give me an
Well,
example.
think about it. Tinder or other dating apps,
Yeah.
they hook into that drive to find love, find a partner,
Right.
Facebook or Instagram. That taps into our need for a connection, for social acceptance, validation.
Okay, yeah.
Googling something instantly. That
Yes.
soothes our need to reduce uncertainty. Video games. Sometimes that's about achieving status, mastering something.
Wow. So these habits, maybe the ones we don't even like that much, are kind of like modern solutions to really old problems or desires.
That's a great way to put it. They're modern solutions to ancient desires.
Yeah.
But here's the crucial part. There isn't just one way to satisfy that underlying motive. The source material really stresses this.
So grabbing a cigarette isn't the only way to deal with stress, for example.
Precisely. It might be the way you've learned, the association you've built, but it's definitely not the only way, and maybe not even the best way.
Okay.
Your current habits are just the patterns that have formed the associations. And habits, fundamentally, are all about those learned connections.
So our brain is constantly scanning the environment, picking up cues,
Hmm.
and then making these super fast predictions based on what happened last time. Like touching a hot stove predicts pain, pull back.
Exactly. Or, a green light predicted safe to go. These predictions are happening all the time, mostly unconsciously.
Right. It feels like we react to things, but actually we're predicting a lot.
A huge amount of it is predictive. Our brain's constantly guessing the best way to act based on the past.
And this is so key. Our behavior isn't just about what's objectively happening. It's about how we interpret it. Like you said, the same cigarette could make one person crave it intensely while another person feels disgusted.
Precisely. So the real cause of the habit isn't just the external thing, the cue. It's the prediction that happens inside your head right before.
Okay, the prediction.
Yeah.
And that prediction leads to a feeling.
Yes, it
Yeah.
leads to the feeling, the craving, the urge, the desire. That's what a craving is, essentially.
That sense that something's off.
Yeah, that feeling that something's missing, or just the desire to change your internal state. It's the gap between how you feel now and how you want to feel.
So, okay, when I'm reaching for that sugary thing mid-afternoon, or I find myself scrolling social media,
Yeah.
it's often really an attempt to feel different. to scratch that deeper itch we talked about.
That's often exactly what's happening.
Right.
When a habit works, even just temporarily to satisfy that motive.
It feels good, or at least better.
Right. It becomes associated with that positive feeling, that relief or satisfaction. And that makes it attractive.
Okay, that's a really important point. Because if habits get attractive through positive associations,
Mm-hmm.
can we sort of flip that? Can we deliberately make harder, but maybe better, habits feel more positive?
The research suggests yes, absolutely. We can essentially reprogram our brains by associating those harder habits with positive experiences.
This sounds like that have to versus get to idea.
Exactly. That simple mindset shift. It's so powerful.
Instead of thinking, ugh, I have to get up for work.
You consciously reframe it. I get to get up for work,
Mm.
which, lets me pursue my career or provide for my family or whatever the positive is.
It's such a small language change, but it feels different. It turns a chore into an opportunity.
It does. And the fascinating thing is both perspectives are true, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess so.
You do have the obligation, maybe, but
Yeah.
you also get the opportunity. We can choose which lens to look through.
Right.
Remember that anecdote about the person in the wheelchair?
Vaguely, yeah.
Feeling liberated by the perspective shift, not confined. It just shows how powerful reframing our thoughts can be.
It really does. And the source material had some great, really practical examples for reframing harder habits.
Yeah, like with exercise.
Instead of, ooh, I need to go run.
Shift it to, okay, this is my time to build endurance, get faster, focus on the gain, the progress.
I like that. Or for saving money.
Instead of feeling like it's about limitation now,
Right. Deprivation.
associate saving with freedom later. Really internalize that living below your means now actually increases your future options. That's motivating.
Yeah, it changes the feeling entirely. And the meditation one was good too.
Oh, right, the distraction.
Yeah, instead of getting frustrated by your mind wandering.
See those distractions as opportunities. Opportunities to practice noticing and gently returning to your breath. That's the skill of meditation, right?
Right, it's part of the
Yeah.
process, not a failure. And even pregame jitters or like anxiety before a presentation.
Mm-hmm. Reframe that nervous energy.
See it as excitement, adrenaline.
Exactly. Tell yourself, this feeling is actually helping me focus. It's getting me ready. It can completely change your response.
These are small mental shifts, but they seem like they could make a big difference.
They really can. And it's not just about internal self-talk either. We can create external things too, like a motivation ritual.
A motivation ritual, what's that?
It's where you deliberately link a habit you want to build with something you already enjoy. You create an association.
Okay, like how?
Well, maybe you always play a specific upbeat song right before you sit down to do some focused work.
Ah, okay. So the song itself starts to become a trigger.
Exactly. The song becomes a cue that tells your brain, okay, it's time to feel motivated and focused. Like that story about Ed Lattimore.
The writer?
Yeah, using his headphones,
Right.
even without music playing.
Right. Just putting them on became his cue for focus because he'd built that association.
It's cure conditioning. It works. Athletes do this all the time with pregame routines.
Totally. Like the author's baseball ritual you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. The stretches, the throws. It wasn't just physical. It was a mental switch.
Getting into that competitive, focused zone.
Precisely.
So how could you use this, say, just to feel happier more often? Can you create a happiness ritual?
The source suggests you can. Find something simple you genuinely enjoy, maybe petting your dog or taking a nice warm bath.
Okay.
Then create a really short, specific routine you do right before it. Maybe just 3 deep breaths and a conscious smile.
3 deep breaths and a smile. Simple.
Very simple. And you do that every single time before the enjoyable activity.
And over time.
Over time, that little routine, the breaths and the smile, becomes a cue. Your brain associates it with the good feeling that's coming.
Ah, so then you can just do the cue itself.
Exactly. Once the association's strong, feeling a bit stressed, 3 deep breaths, smile. Feeling down, 3 deep breaths, smile. It becomes a trigger for a better mood.
That's really cool. Okay, so wrapping this section up, it feels like the real key to fixing bad habits isn't just gritting your teeth.
Definitely not just willpower.
It's more about understanding why you're doing it, the underlying need, and then actively working to change the associations you have with that habit, kind of reprogramming those predictions in your brain.
That's it exactly. Which leads us right back to the inversion of that second law of behavior change we talked about before.
Make it unattractive.
Make it unattractive by deliberately focusing on the downsides of the bad habit, the benefits of avoiding it.
Highlighting the negative consequences.
You make it less appealing, you weaken that positive association, or even create a negative one.
Okay. The summary points really pull this together well.
Yeah, they do. Let's recap them quickly.
Every behavior has that surface craving, but also a deeper motive underneath.
Right. And our habits today, often just modern ways to satisfy ancient desires.
And the cause of the habit isn't just the cue, it's the prediction that comes first, the feeling you expect.
Crucial point. And highlighting the benefits of avoiding a bad habit is key to making it unattractive.
Makes sense. Habits are attractive when they feel good, unattractive when they feel bad. Simple, but powerful.
And finally, you can create those motivation rituals. Pair something enjoyable with a tough habit to build momentum.
Got it. So understanding all this, it gives you a much more, I guess, sophisticated way to approach changing things.
I think so. It's more effective than just trying to force yourself.
Yeah.
It works with your brain instead of against it.
So thinking about this deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a final thought for you listening. Pick one habit, just one bad habit you'd like to shift.
Mm-hmm.
And ask yourself, what deeper need might this habit actually be meeting for me right now?
That's a great question to ponder.
And then maybe think, what's just one tiny way I could start to reframe how I see that habit, or maybe associate it with something less pleasant?
Or even think about a motivation ritual. What small, enjoyable thing could you link to a better habit you want to build?
Yeah. It's not about instant fixes, is it?
Not at all. It's about building that self-awareness, understanding the why behind your actions.
And realizing you have the power to start making conscious changes. You've got the tools now to begin reshaping things from the inside out.